Hi, everyone, and welcome to the fourth edition of our basketball training tapes for the 2024-25 season, presented by the Wisconsin Officials Association Alliance. The calendar is officially flipped to February, and we're in the last month of the season before playoffs begin later at the end of February. We've got some conference championship races that are heating up. Sooner or later, some of these games are going to have some pretty big implications on seeding. So today's training tape is going to focus on things that we can do so that we're in our prime form and things that we can focus on to prepare for these high intensity high caliber games that we'll have coming up in the next few weeks. Just a few disclaimers before we look at today's clips. This training tape is a product of the Wisconsin Officials Association Alliance, and it does not constitute any official instruction given by the WIAA or the NFHS. You'll see in all of our slides, you will not find the WIAA or the NFHS logos because this product is just being brought forth specifically by our association. The videos and comments made are meant for a three-person high school crew. We are going to see some clips from college games today, but we're still going to focus on high school mechanics and rules. No video or comment made in this training tape is intended to call out or degrade players, officials, coaches, or teams in any way. This content is specifically intended to look at plays and situations to help us improve during the basketball season. And this film is an individually created resource by the WOAA, and it is intended for educational purposes only. If you have any questions or concerns at all, or I've had some people even email me some clips that I've been able to use. So if you'd like to contact me in any way, just reach me at my email listed there. My name is Kent Meehee. I'm a member of the WOAA, and I'm also part of the Wisconsin River Officials Association, acting as our basketball co-chair. Today's training tape only has one topic, and that topic is being in MVP form. And for any Badger fans that are out there, we could say Carter Gilmore has already started to get into MVP form as of late. So with these high caliber games that we're going to have coming up and at in the next couple weeks of our season, we need to make sure that us as officials, both individually and as a crew, are in our best form. So, some things that we can do to make sure that we're at our best are knowing what to do and adjudicating layered plays. So, that will include knowing team control on any loose ball fouls and what would result from those fouls, knowing the status of the ball on certain off ball fouls, and just re-emphasizing the importance of showing strong court coverage and signals. So the clips that we're going to watch today are going to cover all of those points. And if we can really be on the same page with our crew and just know what situations need to happen from certain fouls, we're going to be able to run the game and handle those weird situations that might come up during a game. And like Carter Gilmore, we're going to be able to be in our MVP form. So let's take a look at our clips today. The first two clips are looking at team control on loose ball fouls. And the importance of that is knowing whether or not we have free throws and what would happen after some of these fouls occur. So our first foul, or our first clip, I should say, we have a tipped ball and a foul as the players are going for the loose ball. So if we notice, we have a foul on White, and this is going to be White's seventh foul. So when we see that, we automatically think, hey, we've got bonus free throws. But we need to know, on a loose ball foul, does team control still exist? And in this instance, team control does exist when there's an interrupted dribble. So we have White's seventh foul, but because team control is still in play, we would not shoot free throws. This is a team control foul. So red would get they would have possession at the spot nearest the foul. This would be a point of interruption throw in. So again, we have the seventh foul, but we need to understand, does team control still exist in this instance? Because it was a tipped ball, uh, and it was during an interrupted dribble, this would be a team control foul, and we would not shoot free throws. We would give red the ball for the ensuing throw in. So it's important to just know, like, if there is a loose ball, who has team control, and will we shoot free throws or not? Our next clip also looks at team control and a loose ball foul and what would happen next. So, similarly to the other play, we have a foul on black, we have a displacement foul on a rebound, and this will be black's eighth foul. So, again, we have to think, will we shoot free throws or not? Well, in this case, because there was a shot, team control had ended. So, we do not have team control on this play. And because this is black's eighth foul, this would result in bonus free throws for white. So again, when there's a foul on a shot or on a loose ball, we have to ask ourselves, does team control exist? In this case, we do not have team control, so white would have to bonus free throws. Excuse me. We also want to comment on the coverage of this play. This play happens in the lead's primary, so lead has the primary whistle for this play. It does seem, based on the angle that we're seeing this play, it seems that trail does have a pretty good look at the contact. But even then, we'd like to see the trail post and hold, just in case the lead would have a primary whistle also. Now, based on the lead's reaction, the lead is kind of nodding his head, so it looks like the lead would have the same call on this. Excuse me about that. Sorry about that. Um, But the lead agrees with this foul. But again, we'd like to have the trail post and hold before pointing the other way, because if the lead had something different, now we have conflicting calls, and we just don't want to have that in situations like this. But again, when we have a shot and a foul, team control does not exist. So in this case, we would shoot bonus free throws for white. Our third clip also kind of looks at whether team control exists, but we also are going to look at continuous motion on an off ball foul. So we're going to have a screen being made on white, and then we have an off ball foul at the same time as a shot being attempted. So we're not going to focus on the foul itself. We're going to focus on the continuous motion of the shooter, which is white 3. Now, in the rule book, if a foul is made by an opponent, and an offensive player has already began their motion for shooting, they are allowed to finish that motion on the play. So in this case, we have a foul on black, but the center official waves off the shot. So as we can see, the shooter has already started his motion for a shot. And because that motion has started as the foul is being called, we would allow the shooter to finish their shot in this case. If the foul was called before white 3 had attempted their shot, then we would waive the call off, or waive the shot off, because they were not in the shooting motion. But in this case, they are allowed to finish their shot because the shot occurred before the foul had been called. So in this case, we would have a foul on black, but we would allow the shot to count, because again, continuous motion says that they are able to finish their try. Now the ensuing throw in, we would count the 3-point basket, and then the ensuing throw in would come at the 28-foot line, because the foul occurs outside of that boundary where we would otherwise go at the spot outside of the lane line. So in this case, we have a foul on black, but we would, because the shooter was already in the motion of shooting, we would allow continuous motion to play out, and we would count the basket, and then we would award white a throw in on the sideline at the 28-foot line. I apologize. I've got a tickle in my throat. So again, on this play, we just need to be aware, was the shooter in motion before the foul was called, so that we we award the shot if it needs to be awarded, and then we need to also understand that this is a point of interruption play, so we would award the foul, or we would award the ensuing throw in at the 28-foot line. Our next play will cover some court coverage mechanics and another play where we need to know the status of the ball in order to make the correct throw in after the play. So we're going to have a drive to the basket on black, and we have a foul occur in the lane, and we have two different foul calls being reported. So from our center official, we've got a block call, but we can also see that the trail at the same time signals a charge. So we have our a large situation on our hands. The first thing that we want to do, or that we want to focus on this play, is just to post and hold. If we were able to post and hold in this situation, and both officials can see that we have two fists in the air, we could have maybe avoided this large call. Um, they're not ideal situations, but we'd like to avoid them as much as possible. So if we could post and hold here first, we would have a chance on maybe avoiding a large. The second thing we want to look at is who should have the primary whistle. And we can see that the drive goes into the center's primary. So the center would have the primary whistle on this play rather than the trail. The third thing that we should focus on with this is, again, the status of the ball because we have a blarge. When we have a blarge, again, we'd like to avoid these, but they happen. It happens. We get in these situations sometimes. If we have a blarge, this is a point of interruption play when we go to the ensuing throw in. So we would report both of these fouls, but more importantly, we need to understand the status of the ball and who has team control so that we know who to award the throw in to. Now, in this play specifically, the call is being made with black still in team control. So we would report both fouls, but then the point of interruption would go to black because black still has possession of the ball. They still have team control. The lead official is not calling on this play. So we would want the lead to kind of come in and be aware of who has possession and whether or not team control still exists. So in this case, black still has team control. So the next throw in would go to black at the point of interruption. So the throw in would be outside of the lane line. Now, let's say black had shot the ball and team control did not exist at the point that the blarge was called. If team control doesn't exist in a play like this, we would then have to go to the alternating possession arrow to determine who would have who would make the ensuing throw in. So again, these are layered plays. There's a lot to think about. How do we report these fouls, and how do we who do we give the throw in to based on whether who had team control. So there's a lot going on in this play. And again, that's why we included it in today's training tape. Is these are situations where we need to be aware of multiple things on this play, not just who the foul is on, but who has team control. Where is the ensuing throw in? So these are things that we need to keep in mind on layered plays like this so that we get these calls right and that we make the throw ins not just in the right spot, but we award the throw ins to the correct team as well. Our next clip is going to look at some screening coverage. Our last two clips actually include a screen, but this next clip, we're just going to focus on coverage on screen plays. So in this clip, we've got a pass over to the wing, and we've got an elevator screen that's happening just outside of the lane line. So again, on this play, we're not going to focus on the foul call. There is some contact on the screen, but that's not what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on, how do we cover plays like this? When you have elevator screens, or you've got a screen going into an official's primary and there's multiple matchups, we just want to be aware of plays like this and just know how to adjudicate them and cover them so that we can pick up any illegal contact that might occur. So we're going to focus on the center first. The center is in a good spot. They're at home base at the free throw line extended. We could maybe see that because the center has multiple matchups in their primary, we could maybe step up just above the free throw line. We can see the center does that after the player gets the ball. But if we can see that player cutting across the lane and we can kind of tell that they might be getting a pass, we would like to step up before that pass is made so that we can be at a good angle for whatever happens next. Let's say that it looks like white 14 gets the ball. If she takes a quick shot, the center might not be in a great spot to see space between the shooter and the defender. So the center does step above this play, but we'd like to see that happen just a little bit sooner because you can see that player cutting across the lane and they're probably going to get the next pass. The next official we can focus on is the trail. When we have screens going away from the trail, there's probably not a lot of action going on in front of the trail. And we can kind of see that here. The ball goes away and a lot of action is going away from the trail. So if you are the trail and a screen is happening away from you, we'd like for the trail or for you as the trail to step kind of towards that play and have another set of eyes on that screen. Because again, you're not really in this play specifically, there's not many matchups in front of the trail. So the trail could step over and just have another pair of eyes on that screening action. Because again, the center has a lot going on in their primary. So the trail can step in and just have another set of eyes on that play. The lead, the lead does a good job again of being at home base. But again, we need to be able to anticipate these cuts through the lane and any ensuing screens that might happen. So again, they have a nice wide position, which is where we want to be as the lead. But once we see that player cutting across the lane, that's probably a good indicator that we should be in the closed down position. And if the lead was closed down, they might be able to rotate on this play. And again, they'd be willing to put another pair of eyes on that screening action. So when we have screening action like this, we just want to be aware that it's happening. And, as the trail, we want to either step towards that play to have a better view of it. And if we're the lead on this play, anticipate that we're going to be going to the other side of the floor and we want to maybe initiate a rotation. And again, there's a lot going on in the center's primary too, so we want to just be aware of that and have another set of eyes on that screening action so that we're able to pick up this foul if there is a foul. And our last clip for the training tape is just emphasizing some fundamental stuff. So making sure we have good mechanics and good communication with the crew so that we know again how do we adjudicate a play and how do we throw the ball in the next possession, knowing who has possession of a play and just again being on the same page with the crew. So we have a throw in after a free throw and we've got a hard foul on some screening action. On this play, the foul on the screen we're not going to focus on. We're going to again, like the title of the clip said, we're going to focus on our mechanics and communication. So on this foul, the center does a really nice job of not bailing out right away. Like we said in our previous clip, when there are screens being set, we want to have multiple eyes on that. So the center does a good job of staying with that matchup and just helping the new trail with the contact. The area where we want to see improvement on is our mechanics on this. The official rules an illegal screen on this play, and we're not commenting on the call itself, but we could probably show some better mechanics on this play. When we signaled the initial foul, it's not very clear on what kind of foul we have. And with this kind of contact, we could maybe have a push, we could have an illegal screen. So if we do have an illegal screen on this, we want to post for just a second longer, and we need to use the correct mechanics. So we need to have a hand behind the head and a point in the direction of black. So when this occurs, we would like to just again have a stronger mechanic on this play so that we know what the foul call is when it occurs. The next thing we need to do is make sure we communicate where the ball is being thrown in. On previous plays that we've had on today's training tape, there have been instances where we need to know where the ball's being thrown in. So, as the calling official, we need to signal the foul and then we need to designate a spot for the throw in. So, that could be something that we can pregame in the weeks coming up is if we have a foul, make sure we over communicate with our crew where the ball is being put in play. And in our last training tape, we talked about adding credibility to the crew. And when we don't signal where the ball is going to be thrown in, and we don't have a clear mechanic on the foul, it shows that we might not be on the same page. It might show a little bit of confusion by the crew. And when we're showing or portraying that we're unsure now, and we're not portraying confidence, that can cause our crew to lose a little bit of credibility. So again, just in saying we'll watch this one more time, we'd like for the center to have a little stronger mechanic to signal an illegal screen. And then we would also like this official to designate on the sideline where the next throw in would be in place. So stronger mechanics and just a little bit better communication from the crew on this play. So, in closing, anytime you have a loose ball or a shooting foul that is off ball, we want to just take a second and know team control and know the ball status. So, are we shooting bonus free throws? Is this a point of interruption play? So, any loose ball or shooting fouls away from the ball, just know where those two things are and maybe pregame that in case those situations come up in your game. And again, even though we're in February and we're in the exciting part of our season, we still can't forget those key fundamentals, showing confident mechanics and just having strong communication with your crew when you have those strange situations come up in your games. So again, everybody, I really want to thank you for tuning in for this week's training tape. Good luck with the games that are coming up in the coming weeks. And have fun. These types of games and atmospheres that we're going to be involved in. This is what makes refing fun. So enjoy those fun atmospheres that you have coming up, and we'll see you in another couple weeks for our final training tape of the season.